So once upon a time, you couldn't hear a song, you couldn't hear someone hum without hearing somebody say something along the lines of it has to be 50-50 in relationships, that it needed to be equal, that you have to get your 50% and give your 50%. And this sex and relationship therapist is going to tell you why that's stupid. But first, the intro. And welcome back to another episode of the Daily Donna with me, your host, Dr. Donna Oriowo, sex and relationship therapist in the Washington, D.C. metro area, helping Black women feel free, fabulous, and effed. I am the author of Drink Water and Mind Your Business, a Black woman's guide to unlearning the BS and healing self-esteem. And I feel like every time we get together, we are kind of doing some work on unlearning some type of BS because this is part of the BS. 50-50 in relationships is dumb. I said it. I don't take it back. Go ahead and go to your mama before you come to me. Don't come for me unless I call for you. Anyway, why is it stupid? It's stupid for so many reasons. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll not only agree with me, but you'll also have a couple of strategies for letting you know what's going on in the relationship when we get to having to count everything 50-50. So, where it comes to 50-50 in relationships, I say that it's not great because, number one, I don't think a lot of us have actually defined it fully. So, when we're talking about what does it mean to be 50-50 in relationships, we're talking about equitable division 50-50 of all things that are required for your relationship. So, if y'all live together, y'all split the bills in half. You split house chores in half. The emotional labor in half. Any financial contribution in half. All of the things are in half. Everybody has to pay their equal share. The problem is that a lot of y'all think that that's the thing that makes it fair, when sometimes that's not actually what makes it fair at all, because equity is better than equal. Equal says you give the same thing that I give. Equity means that I give to the percentage that I have to give, and you give to the percentage that you have to give. Which means that what you're really saying is that you want all people involved in your relationship to actually give their all, to give everything they have to the relationship, and for y'all to figure out how to divide the spoils accordingly. The problem is that when you're using white supremacist capitalistic thinking as the basis of your relationship, you require 50-50. You require 50-50 because y'all are already not even having a conversation about how power showed up in your relationship. The fact of the matter is that a lot of people in heterosexual relationships, I'm going to say more specifically in this moment, that they forget that there are power dynamics at play. One of you is a male and one of you is a female, you're automatically not on equal footing. I said what I said. Now, for those of you who find yourself in any other type of relationship, between the two of you, look at each other. Look at each other. If it's two males in a relationship, one of you is taller. There is actual financial power that comes with being taller. Y'all still live in the United States of America or any other country that prizes light skin over dark skin? Look at each other. Whoever it is with the lightest skin also ended up with power. Whoever has more money, whoever has lighter skin, whoever has a certain body type, all of these things end up spelling power. Education also spells power, which means that there's a constant space where y'all are going back and forth, which means y'all was never equal to start with. But you're trying to take unequal people and create an equal situation like that made sense. It doesn't. Where it comes to the matters of love, you have to sometimes do the work of taking it outside of the bank. Yeah, you have to actually look at and learn the person that you're wanting to be with, and they have to look at and learn you in turn, which means that you can't just be going off of the so-called financial, emotional, and chore equitable division of these things. Y'all may not have the same access to things like time. You don't have the same physical abilities to do certain things. You don't make the same money. And some of y'all, low key, high key, do not have the same emotional range. And yet you're still calling for things to be done 50-50. I'm trying to figure out, how can I give you 50% of what I don't got? Right? Now, I didn't say dump your person. That's not what I said. That's what you heard. That's your business. That's not what I said. But earlier this week, I'm going to say at the top of the week, we were talking a little bit about, are boys easier to raise than girls? And the answer that I came to was no. That sometimes some of the folks just may not be raising their boys. And other of us, sometimes people are raising their girls to believe that the leadership skills, the executive functioning skills that they are so valiantly and disgustingly, deliciously displaying are something that they should not have access to at all, right? So we shame the girls for the things that they have. But the same thing shows itself within the context of a relationship. Everybody has executive functioning. To what level we have our executive functioning, that's not what we're talking about yet. But everybody has some level of executive functioning, which means that what skills you bring into the relationship that we're talking about, this 50-50, that then changes. When we're saying that we want someone to bring 50%, what I see are two failures. I gave half of what I had to give. You gave half of what you got to give, so that we can make a whole relationship, which only works if you always, always, always have half. If something should happen and your half comes up missing, y'all don't have a whole relationship anymore. You now have a gap. But what would happen if two people gave 100% of what they had to give? It means that one of you could fall short and y'all can still make it. That's what I'm saying. It gives you both a little bit more room to be human. But let's go ahead and get back into the executive functioning of it all. So if you recall, there are 8 executive functioning little wedges. So you have your impulse control, emotional control, flexible thinking, working memory, self-monitoring, planning and prioritizing, task initiation, and organization. These are all skills that you use to display your executive functioning. Now, everybody does not executive function in the same way. I can tell you right now that I have a lot of these, but every now and then my emotions are not in check. So sometimes I'm a little low on number 2. Sometimes I'm also a little low on number 3. Flexible thinking. I want what I want, how I want it, when I want it. And I don't want it to be any other way than the way that I want it, which means that for me, if I'm doing X and it's going well and something disrupts me, I might find myself needing a pause, a break, maybe a moment to check in emotionally, cry about it, yell about it, whatever, before I figure out the new route to still get to the thing that I want in a way that doesn't hurt me or hurt people around me, right? So like, it may take me a little while, but my flex will flex. I just need to stretch, is what I'm saying. But that's something that Mr. Boothang is really great at. Flexible thinking, got it in spades. He's not worried about it. What he may not have as much in is like task initiation. I'm a good task initiator. I'm good at it, and I can keep it going. I'm good at planning. I'm good at prioritizing. I'm good at a lot of this stuff. I'm like, your girl is skilled, is what I'm saying. She's skilled. And you are too. And when you're in a relationship with somebody else, the both of you have skills. Now, if you're doing 50-50, imagine that you cut this thing in half and you have numbers 1 through 4 and your partner has numbers 5 through 8. It sounds good in theory, but that means that you cannot have a day where you fall short. It means that you have placed yourself in the position to have to be perfect. And when you place yourself in the place where you have to be perfect, you have now decided that you no longer have full access to your very humanity. That's unfair to you. It's also unfair to your partner, because when their humanity shows up and they fall short in their 50% of it, you will be looking at them like they are ridiculous. And it can affect the way that you see them moving forward, because they have the audacity to be a human. But when you're both giving everything you've got, when you're noting not only all your collective strengths, but also your collective areas of, I know that people say like your collective areas of improvement. your weaknesses. We just gonna call it your weaknesses. When you're noting where you're strong and where you're weak, where you've been working and you've been shoring up and things are getting better. If you don't have a clear view of that thing, it is harder for you to figure out how y'all move forward, particularly when you hit a rough patch. Everything is easy breezy when things are easy breezy, right? But didn't they ask, can you stand the rain? That's what we're talking about. When things get a little stormy, when things get a little hectic, when things get a little weird, you're going to rely more on your executive functioning skills. And the thing is, where one of you is lacking, the other can pick up if they have some skills in that area. And even if they're not as strong in that area as you would be normally when you are on it, the fact that they have something to offer and can even help you to maybe give you a paltry 5% at that moment means that y'all will not be completely lacking in that area, but you will still feel that y'all don't have everything you need. But when you're doing 50-50 in your relationship where you only require them to have X and you only have Y, you set yourself up for what? Failure. You set yourself up for failure because life happens, friend. And when life happens, that means that you will fail in one of these areas. Take, for example, what was it like last year? Everything was great until it wasn't great, right? Until my body decided, hey, it's like a boo-boo girl. We're not doing any of the things that you wanted to do. We're not going to be able to do those things because you needed to be in a hospital. And you need to stay there and you need to constantly be there, right? So at that time, what my organization looks different, right? Organization looks different. I didn't have even task or initiation space. I'm trying to maintain basics. I'm too tired to initiate new tasks, to do the planning for those tasks, to prioritize those tasks. The only thing that I got is how can I make sure to do the very basis of what I need to do because I don't have no extras. If you date somebody or you're with somebody who does not have skills in those areas, y'all are going to feel the strain because you dropped it, because you don't have it, because human things happen to the human that you are. And now, because you're 50-50, y'all simply have to do without those wedges that have been yours to take care of in the context of your relationship. So if it was that it was 50-50 and I was 5 through 8 and I can't do no task initiation, I can't do no planning and prioritizing, and I don't have the mental emotional strength to do any level of self-monitoring, how does that impact my relationship if we're also saying that my partner doesn't need to have these skills? That's 50-50, right? They still doing the flexible thinking, the working memory, and the emotional control. I'm saying you can't 50-50 the entire relationship. What happens when you have 100-100 is that someone else gets to pull up with the things that you don't have in that moment. It means that you never run out because somebody usually has it. And in those days where all you have is all you got is 50% and all they got is 50%, y'all are still whole. But if you start off with 50-50, it's very easy to dip your butts down into 25-0 and watch the relationship crumble around you. And I think that too many of us are in a space where we get comfortable with giving not our all into a relationship, but still wanting the full benefits of what it means to have a relationship where both of you are giving your all. So you cannot 50-50 no relationship. Especially given that a lot of y'all don't even see your own contributions. I said what I said. Go cry to your mama, right? I say you don't see the fullness, right? Like we're looking at basic chores, but there's stuff that somebody is doing all the time that the other person doesn't even see, doesn't even recognize as a thing that needs to be done. That there are things that somebody is paying for that you do not see, that you don't even recognize needs to be paid for. There is an emotional labor that is being picked up that you do not see, that you do not recognize that the other person even needs to pick up on. Right. And I recognize that some people were worried. Right. And I get it. You're probably worried about things like weaponized incompetence. Like, what if this person, so for those of you who don't know, we're going to operationally define our terms. We're going to get a little deep with it. A weaponized incompetence is when someone is strategically avoiding responsibility by pretending to be incapable in whatever given area or scenario that has been presented to them. I recognize that weaponized incompetence definitely be coming up a lot. And where it comes to executive functioning, sometimes we're wondering what's the space between them weaponizing it and the space where they really just don't have it. And I would say that you will see over time whether or not somebody has an executive functioning problem. There's certain people can learn like basics, right? Like how to put dishes in a dishwasher, or how much clothes go in a tub to wash the laundry, right? They may not know beforehand, but they can. That's something that they can learn. As long as you are a person who is living, you're probably a person who can learn, right? Um, Weaponized incompetence is they just don't want to learn it. They don't want to do it. And regardless of whether or not it's weaponized incompetence or it's a executive functioning problem, you still get to decide whether or not that is something that you can live with and that you will live with. Something that you'll just say, hey, that's okay. So for me and mine, the question becomes, what can you do instead? What do you do? Like, if you're not going to be counting things 50-50 and looking like, well, I cleaned the living room, so it's your turn to clean the living room today. If we're not doing the 50-50, then what are we doing? What we're doing is we're giving our all. That's what you're doing. You're giving everything that you have to give to any relationship that you're in. You're paying it as much attention as you can. You give all that you have to give, knowing that what you have to give day by day will change, knowing that year by year it'll change, knowing that because you're human, it's going to change what's available to you as far as your mental, emotional, financial, et cetera, resources. You give everything that you have to give within limits, because I'm not saying that person that you met today, you should go ahead and give that this new person like $20,000 because they asked for it. I'm like, unless you got it like that, which you can also send me that kind of money, please do. Unless you got it like that, they're not getting it, right? So it's okay for you to be like, no, I don't know you. I'm not giving you $20,000. But when I say give it your all, I mean show up in the relationship fully. Give what you have to give emotionally, give what you have to give as far as mental emotional labor. Give what you have to give financially as well, like where it comes to date planning, if that's something that, like, depending on how y'all decide that that's going to go, right? um give what you have to give so that you can create and build a relationship that you're going to give, that you're going to have with one another. Now, if y'all, like, I know that somebody's getting hung up on the financial thing right now because, like, did this girl just say go 50-50 on dates? That's not what I said. That's what you heard. What I said is give everything that you have to give, which means that if you're interested in someone, give them that time, give them the energy, give them the focus. And when y'all go on a dates, do what you got to do financially. If you ask this person out, pay for that date. If they're paying for that date, make sure that you're showing up. Do the thing and be present with them, for them. However y'all divide things up financially, that's not really my point. My point is more like y'all efforts be on that 50-50 and it shows. You can't have half effort in a relationship and have a whole great relationship. And I would even say 50-50, it goes beyond your romantic relationships. It also goes to your friendships. Some of y'all are trying to give 50% everywhere you go and wondering why you're not getting everything that you intended to get out. If you half-ass your work and someone else is half-assing their work, it doesn't create better work. It just creates more work for the both of you when one of you falls short, because you will. But I digress. Instead of looking for equal, I give, you give, counting dollars, counting times, counting cleaning sessions, instead, look for reciprocity. Do you feel whole? Do you feel good? Do you feel safe? Do you feel sane? You are going to check in with yourself. As long as you feel good, safe, sane, and like your relationship is reciprocal, then number one, you're already going to have less of an instance, less of a need to be counting whether or not y'all have given the exact same thing to each other. I have found that when a person gets to counting, it's because they no longer feel that things in their relationship are reciprocal. They start feeling like they've got to now move to 50-50 because maybe y'all been operating at 70-30 for a little too long. Somebody has been giving way more than maybe they even have to give because the other person refuses to give more. I would also say, if that has been the truth of your relationship, where you feel like you're the one giving so much more than someone else, then maybe that's also a space for y'all to pause and have a conversation. But again, y'all also have to have a conversation about what do you value? What do you each value individually, but what do you value within the context of your relationship? Because these things will also inform what reciprocity looks like within the space. Some of y'all, high key, value money over everything. And so you will disregard every other effort that is coming within the relationship space because you're only focused on who spent what. So you will miss out on the fact that you didn't do no dishes this last year. You'll miss out on the fact that you never changed the diaper. You'll miss out on the fact that despite the fact that you chug that juice every day, there's always new juice in the house. You won't keep in mind that the bed sheets were changed, or that the house looks good, that it smells good, that you go out, that y'all have a good time, that there's always a key, that someone is there to be your shoulder to cry on. We can miss those things if all you see are dollar signs. If all you are focused on is money, because low key, high key, when we say 50-50 in relationships, half the time, that's the only thing that we're talking about. We're talking about the finance over everything. So it's finance over emotional well-being. It's finance over home chores. It's finance over everything. And so it's easier to prioritize what looks like financial givings and financial reciprocity, or financial 50-50, and lose sight of the fact that y'all 50-50 financial, but everything else is 90-10. And unless it's a fair trade-off to you, because I'm not in your relationship, then y'all are never going to feel, you're never going to feel complete. You're never going to feel whole. You're never going to feel like things are reciprocal, because if somebody believes that they can simply buy your services, or you see somebody only as a wallet, y'all already are operating from the space where you're very likely not going to have any reciprocity. If somebody is in a one down position because y'all are not partners, because somebody is above somebody else. But hey, this is only if y'all are into that 50-50. That's all. So for me and I like to remind people that when you start counting, it tells a story. And usually the story it's telling is, I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard, and I don't feel cared for in our relationship. So I feel the need to keep tally of who's doing what, because I feel like I am underappreciated here. And keeping score helps me to see what you're doing so I don't blow up on you early. But it also reminds me that I'm doing so much more than what you're doing, and I have every right to be as angry as I am. So when we get into a space of when we're counting, I'm already seeing the cracks in the relationship. The question is, are you? Anyway, that has been a little bit on the executive functioning and how it kind of shows up in the romantic space. Executive functioning is actually quite important in the romantic space, because look, maybe I wasn't playing when I said it in the Our Boys Easier to Raise video, but it is my belief that women tend to have far more developed executive functioning skills because of socialization, because they're taught to see everything and be sort of preparing for whatever comes their way, sometimes for their safety, and also because we've been told that our value is less, and so we have to make up for that value by predicting almost what is fitting to happen and being prepared for those things. So it is my belief that women tend to have better executive functioning skills, and are more practiced in using those skills in a collective way that will benefit a collective and not just the individual. And what I find is that when some people are coming to individual therapy to come talk about they partners, or when a couple comes in and they are experiencing problems, not just in the bedroom, but also outside, it is usually an executive functioning differentiation. It's where someone is falling short in using the skills in a collective space, or where they have underdeveloped executive functioning skills that I see a lot of these problems. But you know what? You tell me about you. Tell me whether or not you think that 50-50 is good, not great, whatever. Tell it in the comments below. And you already know that I'm going to be here when? Tomorrow, because this is the Daily Donna, where we have those conversations with a slightly therapeutic edge. All right, y'all. Bye.